Welcome to another Tech Help video. This is Quick Queries number 47, brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I'm your instructor, Richard Rost. Yes, I know today is Thursday, and I usually do quick queries every Friday, but tomorrow, Friday, July 4th, is a holiday here in the States. It's our Independence Day, and so I'm moving it ahead a day to Thursday. And if you don't like it, well, you know where you can go. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see what we got. Got an email from Edwin. He's saying he basically has two Microsoft Outlook mailboxes, right? You got multiple accounts set up in your Outlook email, and he wants to be able to send an email using a specific account, his other one, because when the recipient gets it, they can see where it was from, and he wants to change the from address. Well, Edwin, you're right that if you use the basic DoCmd.SendObject in Access, you cannot pick which Outlook account to use when sending the email. It will always use the default account. And that is what I cover in this video when I teach you how to send basic email. Now, you can connect to Outlook using something called automation, which is VBA code. And using that, you can specify which account to send from. Now, I don't do that personally because I rarely use Outlook anymore, especially since Microsoft has indicated they're going to be depreciating it. In other words, your classic Outlook that you can connect to from the other Office apps, including Access, to send email is no longer going to work in a couple of years. So I've kind of moved away from it. But here, I asked ChatGPT for a sample of the code. Here's a sample of code you can use to connect to Outlook from Access. And you can specify which account you want. Here's the other account name, for example. All right, I haven't tested this. Give it a try, see if it works. It should work. I've done something like this in the past, so this looks about right. But again, it's not something that I would use. What do I recommend? Well, I recommend using CDO, Collaborative Data Objects. It's a way you can connect directly to the mail server that you're trying to send mail to, right? Whoever your mail provider is, even Gmail. And you can connect to it straight from an Access. You don't have to use Outlook. It just sends it right there. You can specify who it's from, the from address, the reply address, all that stuff. Okay, I cover that in this video. And of course, if you want to learn everything about sending email, all kinds of stuff, check out my email seminar. It's quite comprehensive. I cover broadcast bulk email batches, extracting files from Access attachments, email to SMS gateways, extracting attachments from incoming mail. I mean, everything. So, email seminar, check it out. All right, let's head over to the YouTubes. Caramel Cream says, love your commentary on your vids. Make it super fun to watch. Fellow nerd. Oh, that's what my videos are for, nerds. If you don't like my nerdiness, bye. See ya. Get out of here. I use Dlookup to check user security levels when opening forms. I have a lot of forms and reports. We now experience a slight loading pause for these forms. Hope I can use this to streamline. Yeah, that's what it's for. That's what this Dlookup enhancement is for. If you got forms you're using all the time, constantly, try slipping this in there, especially if it's something that's, you got several lookups at once, like my on current event. Anybody else who is watching this, let me know if you try implementing my faster Dlookup, my Dlookup function. I want to know if it improved your workflow. And I will accept commissions on every penny, a penny for every second that I save you. So you could do the math. This is once again a friendly reminder that if you are getting errors, I need to know more information. You told me what exactly the error is, great, but where does it happen? What line of code is highlighted? This is not enough information to be able to answer your question or help you. So you got to give me more. Amikisun, is that like Amicron, my company name? Asks, do I plan on having videos regarding how to use CoPilot with Access? Yes, eventually, if and when the Microsoft team decides to integrate CoPilot into Access, I will definitely cover it. As of now, CoPilot's available in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Teams, and a few other apps, but there's no official CoPilot support for Access as of yet. No ribbon button, no AI suggestions inside the app, that kind of stuff. So when Microsoft officially adds support for it in the future, and it works, and it's bug-free, then yes, I'll definitely do some videos. In the meantime, I have been doing videos on integrating Microsoft Access with ChatGPT, which is the OpenAI interface. It's an API interface you can use to do stuff in the background. You know, you can send stuff from your database right to OpenAI and get a response, just like you're talking to ChatGPT. It was first. They had the API first, so that's what I started using first. And so that's what I've been building on. But yeah, when CoPilot comes around and is built into Access, then I will consider that. I've also built a couple of fun projects. For example, my AI Chef's Helper, where you can integrate with OpenAI and you can send it what's in your pantry, right? Straight out of your database, and it will send you back some suggestions of recipes you can make with that, which I think is pretty cool. I've also built a template called the AI Query Builder, which actually does query. It writes SQL for you, and it can do some VBA statements. So you basically say, you know, I want a query that shows all of the customers from Florida with credit limits of $500 or more. You send it, and then the AI will return the actual SQL statement for you. So you don't have to write SQL anymore. And it can do some basic other stuff too. And here's something else that I just recently figured out how to do, and I've been playing with this. You can use the OpenAI engine to actually generate images and put those images in your database too. Right? So I've been building this. You specify your images folder. You give it a prompt. Right? I have it here so you can pick. There's two styles. You can pick natural or vivid. Natural looks more like a real, you know, like a real picture, whereas vivid is more, you know, colors pop and stuff like that. And then I have it here so you can pick from different themes. Right? I got futuristic sci-fi concept art in here. You can do oil painting or origami. This just basically adds to the prompt. And then you hit go. It will generate the picture. The AI returns a URL to you, right? That gets saved here. And then I have the database download the picture, and then it can display it here in a picture frame object. So this is a project I'm working on now. I do plan on making some videos about this in the future. So if you're interested in this, post a comment down below so I know how many people want to see how to generate images with their Access database. So I hope that answers your question. CoPilot, most likely, once it's finally integrated into Access. ChatGPT and OpenAI, yes, definitely. I've been working with that for a couple of years now. And I'm a Microsoft guy. I love Microsoft, but OpenAI was first to the game, so I've been using them. But WordPerfect was first to the game, and I switched to Microsoft Word because I liked it better. So we'll see what Microsoft does when it comes to integrating CoPilot into Access. Afrin Sir says, make a video on a faster DSum and a faster running sum. That's not a bad idea. I will add that to my list. I do have a faster DCount that I cover in the extended cut. Could probably do something with DSum too. Now a faster running sum. Running sums are tough because that's just the nature of how they're calculated in Access. But yeah, maybe we could do something with that. I'll think about it. Bruce says, very helpful. One question: can I change the font color? I assume you mean the font color of the items in the combo boxes individually, because you could change the color of the overall combo box, but you can't change the color of the items in the combo box individually. That's one of the limitations of Microsoft Access. Now, there are some workarounds you can do. I've done some stuff in the past where you can create like a little pop-up subform, like a continuous subform over the top of the box, and that can have different colors in it. But it's not easy to set up. It's not native to Access. It requires some tricks, but the basic combo box, no, you can't. That'd be one thing that'd be nice to see if they added that in the future. I have seen some third-party ActiveX controls that you can do, but I don't like using ActiveX controls if I can avoid it, because they're very difficult to support across multiple installations. Now, I am working on an update to my calendar template, and the calendar template can have multiple items in it with different colors like that. Now, this is basically a text box using HTML, right? The rich text formatting. You could do something like this and simulate a combo box, but you'd have to control the dropdown with code. So is it possible? Yeah, you could do it. It just involves some work. I've actually had it on my list to try to do something like this for a tech help video for a while now, so maybe I'll throw something like this together. SM Hamid says, these videos are free. Why $1? Sorry for asking. No, don't be sorry for asking. You're right. On YouTube, I have my Access Beginner 1 and Beginner 2 courses free of charge. Anybody can watch them. And they're here so I can, attract new students. So people find me and hopefully like those and come to my website to buy more. But if you do go directly to my website, beginner 1 is free, but I charge $1 for beginner 2 because, well, that's just the way I've got it set up. I don't know. So if you found the free beginner level 2 and you go to my website and you pay the $1 for level 2 there, well, I'll give you level 3 for that $1 then. Okay, how's that sound? I'm not going to make a stink over $1. Next up, Ivor Nice One says, is the difference between choose and the method you used in the last video is that choose returns a string and the if method returns a numeric value? No, both choose and if will return whatever type of value you're working with. Technically, they're variants. So if you give it a list of string options, you'll get a string back. If you give it a list of numbers, you'll get numbers back. If you give it a list of dates, you'll get a date back. That's what a variant means. It can be basically any data type, whatever you're working with. Anna Sissa says, please, I have a database which is created in 2019. I want to upgrade it to 2020, 21, 2023. How can I do that? Well, if you've got a database created in Access 2019, then it should be fully compatible with everything after that. 2021, Access 365 is what I would recommend you get the subscription. That way you always have the latest and greatest version. But you could take a database going back all the way to 2007 when they made the major format change, and that should be compatible with all the new versions. If you got something older than that, you might have to convert it up, like a 2003 database. But you should be fine with just 2019. Access has not changed that much since 2019. Timothy says, I noticed that you put an auto number field in each file. I mean each table, right? Do you even do that if there is a unique ID field for the file? National insurance number, sorting code, vehicle registration, staff number, etc. Yes, I always do. I almost always put an auto number in every table as the primary key field. Even if there is another key field, it's called a natural key, right? Something that exists in the natural world, like a phone number or a social security number over here in the States. Those kinds of things can be assigned by outside entities. But as far as your database is concerned, I want the relationships in the database to be based on my key, my auto number. It's called a surrogate key. Okay? And that's just my preference. That's what I use. Plenty of databases do use these natural keys. So there's nothing wrong with that. But then you have to make sure that you've got Cascade updates involved just in case something can change. What if your social security number does change in the future? It has happened. So that's why I prefer auto numbers. It's not hurting anything. It's a tiny, teeny, minuscule amount of space added to each table. And I just think it's worth it, just from my 30 years of experience building databases. Keep the extra number you got, of course. You want to be able to look that up, index it. But I always have an auto number. I've got a million videos on my website and on my YouTube channel about auto numbers and why you want to use them and what they're good for. But if you want to replace a natural key, like a social security number or something like that, with an auto number, or at least add the auto number and make sure that it follows through in all the relationships, go watch this video. Timothy again on my USA First video, which is just to allow you to specify what country shows up first in your big long country combo boxes. So the country that you're in, or at least the one that you use the most, shows up top. And he says in the UK, the selection lists default to the UK first. Of course they would. If you're in Australia, you'd want Australia first. Suggest that it's possible to identify the country the user is in and put that first. Of course, absolutely. You can do whatever you want. It's your database. I'm just showing you how to put the Legos together. You can put them together in whatever order you want to. D. Sarian says, this was really helpful. He's talking about my automated import, where I teach you how to make, you click one button and it imports your data from Excel and then puts it in your table. Can you share the video where the data table is appended instead of being overwritten? I need to build this append table for a new data saved in Excel from every month by different departments. So what you're going to do is, in that video, I show you how to import the data and then overwrite what's in your database with like new pricing information and stuff. But if you need to append the data, instead of an update query, just use an append query. It's that simple. Just switch the query type, and that should do it. If you still can't figure it out after that, then let me know. Maybe I'll do a separate video on it. Fonty38 says, I learned from you how to open a form with a password mask text box to enter a password for better security. Yes, in the read-only video, I showed you how to just use a simple input mask to ask for a manager password. And yes, I didn't mask it at all. That's not very secure. I mean, you have to make sure no one's looking over your shoulder, obviously. But in other videos, I do show a better way, which is to use an input mask and to echo, asterisks or something when you're entering a password. Yeah. There's other videos for that. That wasn't the point of the read-only video, so I didn't bother going into all that detail. But absolutely, if you're in a secure environment, you want to use a password mask on your text box. Of course you do. It's like I can't show everything in every video, so I gotta just do what I gotta do. That's what my full course is for, so I can show you everything step by step. And there's hundreds of hours of videos to go through. John says, I was struggling with a report to print individual labels in a specific position on the paper by throwing some blank dummy labels in the database ahead of where I wanted to print. But there was boilerplate text and some checkbox fields I didn't want to print. After watching your video, I got it working the first attempt. Thank you. I'm glad you got it working. But that's basically what I do is I have a temporary table that I use for my labels, right? And then I just insert however many blanks I want in that spot to print, to not print in those, to print the labels in those spots. So if you got, 3 labels already off your blank sheet and you want to print in the 4th spot, just insert 3 blank dummy labels, right? That's what I cover in this video. And this is if you got like a sheet of labels. Like I used to use those sheets of like 30 labels, right? There'd be 3 columns with 10 rows each. But now what I do is I just use my Dymo label writer for everything. And I interface with this with Microsoft Access. So if you just need one label, there's your label. You got one label. And funny story with this one, about 4 years ago, as you can see, Nancy, one of my gold members, sent me an email and she said, have you ever, interfaced Microsoft Access with a Dymo label writer? And at that point, no, I had not. I never did. I've never had one before. And I just jokingly said to her, but if you want to send me one, I'll figure it out and make a video for you. And so she sent me a label writer, which was awesome. And then I figured it out and made a video. And I'm happy. She's happy. And Nancy, if you're listening, I still use this thing almost every day. I use it for printing Amazon return labels because my wife and I both have a problem ordering from Amazon. But we know that we're just going to try everything because if we don't like it, we're just going to send it back. So lots of returns, lots of trips to the UPS store. But this little guy is great. The Label Writer 450, you can print mailing labels, you can print barcodes, you can print QR codes. It's really cool. And you can interface it with your Microsoft Access database. Not for the graphical stuff, but definitely for printing mailing labels and stuff. Timothy again, in my video, Too Many Tables, I teach you to consolidate tables if you can, if it makes sense for your database, right? For example, if you have customers and vendors and employees, you can put those all together in a people type table, right? Because that all has basically the same information. They have, an ID, a first name, a last name, an address, a phone number, that kind of stuff, right? It's all relatively the same. Instead of making 5 different tables that all basically have the same kind of stuff, make one table and have a field to indicate what this person is. Is it an employee? Is it a vendor? Or maybe even have a second table or do a many-to-many relationship so they can have multiple classifications. It's all about what works for your database. There's no one size fits all. That's the reason why we're building our own stuff in Access, so we don't have to change the way we want to work to fit the software. We make the software fit what we want. So for beginners, that's what I teach. I teach, okay, you got a customer table, now you got a vendor table, now you got an employee table. We make them separate tables so that the beginner students can separate that in their brains. And then as you get a little more advanced, you learn, well, really you can put this stuff together and just give them category IDs. So there's all kinds of different ways to do it. Now, as far as what you're saying, orders wouldn't be the same. Orders from clients are sales orders. They pay you. Orders to hotels, airlines are purchase orders. You pay them. Of course. Now, could you put all that together in the same order system? Yeah, you could. And just indicate whether it's a a sales order or a purchase order. Same thing. Whatever works best for your business. I've built databases both ways. I had a firm that wanted to do that. They wanted to run their system like that. So the sales orders were positive in their books, and their purchase orders came out negative in their books, and it all worked the same. That's what they wanted. So build it accordingly. Essentially, there's no one way to build a database. It's really just up to you. I just show you options, right? I mean, there are some things that are best practices, but as far as how to put your tables together, it's half science and it's half art. Gary, talking about my multiple cascading combo boxes video, he says, I deal with a few different states and some I do not know the counties for. Sure, I could do a search, but some cities are split into several counties. Yeah, like New York City. Is there a way I can have a state and then if the county is blank, skip it and go straight to city? Yeah, you could do that. You could put like an all option, like an asterisk option in the combo box. And then just in your VBA code say, okay, if this box is that star option, then just show me all of the next field. There's lots of ways to do it, but is it possible? Yes, you definitely could do it that way. And if you want me to show you how to do it that way, well, if a few people make a comment about it, I'll add it to the list. And be specific, people. Sometimes people just post in the comments, yes, I'd like to see that. Like to see what? It's a 20-minute video. How do I know what you're talking about? And don't just give me a time index. Say, yes, I'd like to see how to show all the cities for a county. Okay? I don't want to have to rewatch my own video. Timothy again. Banking applications. UK banks have sorting codes representing the individual branch of the bank. Access and Excel amend some sorting codes to dates. For example, 20-10-26 becomes 20 October 1926. Access shouldn't do that. I've never seen Access do that unless you've set it up as a date field. Now, I know Excel will do that. That's actually one of my pet peeves with Excel is if you type in 10-1-20, you get a date, right? So you could start off you could fix that by just starting off with a single quote. All right, that forces that to text, right? 10-1-20, and it keeps it like that. And you get the annoying little tip over here. You just say ignore. Okay, and that will keep your text. Now, like I said before, in Access, you should not have that problem. If you're dealing with a string, a text data type, it should not convert it to. I've never seen it converted to a date. An unbound form field might, if you've got an unbound text box that's not bound to a field. Just make sure the format is not set to date, and make sure it's not going to display it as a date if it looks like a date. Now, if it's got a date field underneath it, it will convert it to a date. So just make sure you're using text. And if I'm wrong, correct me. Maybe there's something with the UK version of Access. I'm not too familiar with the international versions of Access. Some people have said some weird things to me as far as like, well, I've got the German version of Access, and it does something totally different. I might. I don't know. I only use the US version. But that's one of the reasons I switched to the ISO date format. And that's my mission, to get everybody in the world using this date format. It's better. There's no confusion, right? In fact, I was at the dentist yesterday filling out paperwork, and I wrote my dates on the form this way, and I could just see the secretary looking at me weird, like, what? I don't care. I'm doing it everywhere. Now, as far as not having to remember to put the little thingy there, if you format the cells as text ahead of time, you should be okay. So if you take, let's say this column here, right-click, format cells. If you set it to text ahead of time, now anything I type in here, 10, 10, 10, should stay text. So, but you got to format it ahead of time. So, I don't know. There's no other easy way that I know of. Anybody else have any ideas? Post them in the comments down below. And I'd like to end today on a positive note. Enigma says, I normally don't comment on your videos, but I use what you teach to affect millions of lives every day. Let's just say we're a global necessity. Well, thank you very much. That means more to me than you know. I don't always get to hear what kind of a real world impact my videos have. So reading something like this, knowing that what I teach helps affect millions of lives, is incredibly humbling. Yes, I do this for a living. And sure, like everybody, I've got bills to pay. But honestly, if I was independently wealthy and never had to work another day in my life, I would probably still be doing this. I love Microsoft Access. I love making videos. I love helping people. Getting to share what I know and to connect with people all over the world is something that I love doing, and I never take it for granted. So thank you for taking the time to comment. You really made my day today. Thanks. Oh, and someone's beaming in. And now the ship's under red alert. I got to go, so we're going to call it a day today. That's going to do it for Quick Queries number 47. I hope you learned something. Live long and prosper, my friends. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button right now and give me a like. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel, which is completely free. And make sure you click that bell icon and select all to receive notifications whenever I post a new video. Do you need help with your Microsoft Access project? Whether you need a tutor, a consultant, or a developer to build something for you, check out my Access Developer Network. It's a directory I put together personally of Access experts who can help with your project. Visit my website to learn more. Any links or other resources that I mentioned in the video can be found in the description text below the video. Just click on that Show More link right there. YouTube's pretty good about hiding that, but it's there. Just look for it. Now, if you have not yet tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access, including building forms, queries, reports, tables, all that stuff. It's over 4 hours long. You can find it on my website or my YouTube channel. I'll include a link below you can click on. And did I mention it's completely free? And if you like Level 1, Level 2 is just $1. That's it. And it's free for members of my YouTube channel at any level. Speaking of memberships, if you're interested in joining my channel, you get all kinds of awesome perks. Silver members get access to all of my extended cut tech help videos, and there's hundreds of them by now. They also get one free beginner class each month, and yes, those are from my full courses. Gold members get the previous perks plus access to download all of the sample databases that I build in my tech help videos. Plus, you get access to my code vault where I keep tons of different functions and all kinds of source code that I use. And gold members get one free expert class every month after completing the beginner series. Platinum members get all of the previous perks, plus they get all of my beginner courses, all of them from every subject. And you get one free advanced or developer class every month after finishing the expert series. And you can become a diamond sponsor and have your name listed on the sponsor page on my website. So that's it. Once again, my name is Richard Rost. Thank you for watching this video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something today. Live long and prosper, my friends. I'll see you next time.